Hello everybody, David Traylor of the Traylor Law Firm here. I'm downtown. It's weird because I'm on Main Street, and Main Street is the darkest street in this area of downtown right now. It's like I don't know, it didn't used to be this dark when I lived here. But it still lights me up pretty good for this video, for the purposes of the video. Now I'm just trying to find a place to park so I can go pick up my wife's sushi. This is her. That woman was getting a lot of help walking. I'm not sure why. This is her birthday eve dinner, and so she wanted sushi. So I'm picking that up for her, and then I'm going to get a good healthy meal for me at Kalachanji's, which is, if you don't know, it's a Hare Krishna restaurant. That might make people think, woo, it's pretty weird, it's pretty out there, but it's really not. You know, it's good food. It's really good food. And so that's what I'm going to do. Try to keep these people from blocking me. All right. And here's the National. It was going to be the Dreamer. Now it's the National. I can't remember what they renamed the Davis building. Anyway, so today I went to Rockwall. Yeah, seriously, I've got the same problem again. No parking here. Went to Rockwall County today. Handled a stupid little case. Just reset it because my client's trying to get his driver's license so we can get his case dismissed in Rockwall. They're being really patient with him, and I am too, because everybody wants him to get his license fixed, get back on the road legally. So DWLI, whatever you want to call it, is probably the single smallest potatoes case that are handled in county courts, aside from county courts that do tickets. But when you're talking about Class B misdemeanors and up, DWI is the smallest potatoes case they're going to have. I mean, I can't think of another one. You know, maybe fail to ID, but even that's probably more serious. So I went up there and handled that, or out there and handled that. And I always love going to Rockwall because it's just a nice drive straight out Highway 30, and you get to cross the lake, and it's pretty. And today when I was out there, I noticed the courthouse is on Yellow Jacket Lane. And when I got my file for my client, it was in a yellow jacket. So I asked one of the prosecutors if they thought that was intentional. And they said, you know, I've never thought of that, but now I'm not going to be able to think of anything else. So I changed the world today. And now I'm going through what's called Money Alley. They have new lights in here, which make it a lot brighter. There have been people killed in this alley, even in the last 4 or 5 years. And not many. I mean, pretty much you still have to get into a fight of your own making to meet your demise in this alley. I don't think people have been killed just because they were mugged or robbed or whatever, just jumped. But there's a very nice car ahead of me. It's a Rolls-Royce drop head, I think is what you call that. Let's see. Nice. Let's zoom in on it. And that's the National. That's the mixed-use hotel. I'm not sure if they have residences other than the hotel there. Now when I zoom back out, maybe I can switch my camera around again. Did I screw it up? There we go. All right, so about to go and get the sushi. What was I going to tell you about today? Oh, I had a client out in Rockwall that I had to go troubleshoot his case. It's a first-degree felony facing up to 99 to life on the case. And they wanted to send him to the pen, even though it was a first-time offender. But we got him, finally persuaded the prosecutor to agree to probation, and a deferred probation at that, so his case will get dismissed at the end. And in fact, that's such a rare deal out in Rockwall that the judge took us aside and asked us why we were doing it, and I just let the prosecutor explain, because, you know, I was ready to jump in and give him some words, but as long as the prosecutor was able to get it done, I wasn't going to jump in and do it unless I needed to. So, but they hit him with a $1,000 fine on each of his cases. Well, when he gets to probation, they told him his fines were $10,000. So they 10x'd his fine, gave him 1,000% of the fines he owed on that one case. And so I had to go in there and, you know, I was prepared to talk to the prosecutor and say, look, what is this? This is not the deal we had. Even if the paperwork was wrong, I was prepared to talk to her. But the paperwork was right. I went into the clerk's office and found the plea deal that he signed, and it says 1,000 on each. So that'll be an easy one to get turned around. Someone just added a zero somewhere. And then I got another client, Rockwall, that had to talk to, I'm going to have to talk to them. I went to the DA's office to try to talk to them about the mechanics of taking care of a plea when he's here and just how we get him moved around to get it done. But they had that prosecutor's office door locked up tight. You can't even go in. But the same way in Dallas, you can't walk into the DA's office anymore. You got to call. So that's better in some ways. I'll just call and get it arranged. And then the city of Dallas was a Zoom hybrid. I don't think I covered that. It was a hybrid deal. So I was either able to go in person or by Zoom, and I chose to go in person. But when I get there, it's just me, the bailiff. There was an interpreter there in the hearing prior to me, but she left. So it's just me and the bailiff, and the judge was on a video screen in the front of the courtroom, big as day. And so I just had basically a Zoom hearing in the courtroom. Very social distance. Me and the bailiff were probably 16 feet away. It was good to see him again. I don't get in that building very much anymore. I liked practicing in the city courts a lot because you get a lot. Well, you don't really get a lot more trials. You get more trials, a few more, because you just got so many more cases. But you know, I won at city court. I won almost all my trials. I can't really remember losing one. And you know, I don't know, the thing about practicing law these days as opposed to in the 70s and maybe even in the 80s is it's not as binary as it was. You can win cases now without going to trial a lot of times. At least I can. I always try to do that. I try to never miss a shot to win a case, and so I don't take the cases quickly to trial. I want to take all that time before trial and see if I can shake it loose. And if you get a lot of cases shaken loose before trial, you don't go to trial as much, and that's a good thing for the client. That's really good for the client. Trials are time-consuming, demanding, stressful, expensive, and risky. The bottom line is they're risky. You know, even if you win most of your trials, each individual trial is still risky for the client. So if you can win it before that, that's like Sun Tzu said in The Art of War. To win without fighting is the ultimate victory. It's easy to explain. It just saves a lot of resources. It even saves the court's resources, taxpayers' resources. So that's always my goal: win without fighting. But then when I fight, I like to be able to. Fighting's fun. The thing about being a lawyer is, especially criminal defense lawyers, you don't get to try your favorite cases, like your best cases, the ones where you'd be like, oh my God, this is going to be so much fun to trial. You get to the day of trial and they dismiss it and you never get to try it. I've had that happen so many times. And then the ones that they really want to try get plat out. So it's a two-way street, you know. Now that doesn't apply to murders. Murders get tried a lot. There's too much at risk, and the stakes are really high, and the deals are often not good enough to not roll the dice on a trial. You know, a lot of times when you take a deal, it's because the risk of not going to trial, given what you've been offered, is too severe for the client to bear. Like if they're offering you deferred on some first-degree felony, and you go to trial, you're looking at least 5 years if you get convicted, and up to 99 or life. So why, if they're offering you deferred, would you take the risk of going to trial? You'd have to be very courageous, very certain, or very stupid. And I shouldn't say very stupid, because courageous is really something. I've had some courageous clients that have been facing some serious prison time that have rolled the dice and prevailed because of it, and that's so satisfying when that happens. Anyway, I gotta go in and get this sushi. I'm gonna sign off. I always say it's only a free country if you're not in jail, so please try to stay out of trouble. But if you find yourself arrested, investigated, questioned, detained, stopped, searched, charged with a court date, with a warrant, or out on bond, indicted, any of that stuff, or you just have questions, call us and we'll see what we can do to get you back out of trouble and put your life back to normal, and keep you out of jail. Get your life back to normal. That's the main thing we do. All right. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time.